7 o'clock.
Yeah, don't say it too loudly. You might wake
Someone has told me that it's 7 o'clock. All right, so let's call this meeting to order, and let's start with a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, let's do a roll call. I think I see Mansfield, Weatherby, Kiriakou, Grant, Demansky, and Rhodes. Is there anyone online for the meeting?
Hello, Mayor Paloma here.
And I see Councilmember Wake online. The city attorney, Christian Gates, is here in person, and the city administrator as well. Okay. So let's start up with public comment. If you're here to make a public comment, you can on any topic, unless there's a public hearing. There's 1.5 public hearings this evening. So we had scheduled a hearing on zoning of the train station area. That's going to be adjourned to December 1. We've received a bunch of comments we need to process through, so that you can make comments on if you wish. And then there's one on the proposed budget. So if you want to comment on the budget, just wait until we have the public hearing for that, which will be right after public comment. So for general public comments, I see Arthur Kamens first on the list. And let's get started. Oh, it's for budget. Okay, great. Anyone else want to make a general public comment? Yeah, you're right, I do see that. Okay, then let's start up our hearing. So the first one.
We do have one
Can we check
online.
online as well?
Oh, sorry, go right ahead, Ben.
No, they put their hand down.
They just put their hand down, never mind.
Okay. So I need a motion to, have we started the public hearing?
Yeah, we adjourned it till today, so I think it's just open. Is that correct? We don't have to do another motion?
Yeah. Okay, so then I'm looking for a motion to adjourn the public hearing regarding the train station zoning to December 1.
Motion to adjourn the public hearing on the train station district to December 1st.
Second.
So that was Molly and Amber. Christian, you want to give us any input as to why we're doing that?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The council received comments from the planning board, The planning board did a detailed and thorough analysis of the proposed local law, and some of those comments are very helpful, and so it's appropriate to adjourn it to the council's next regular meeting so that it can workshop those edits. Our office will incorporate pretty much all of those edits because they are good ones, and we'll make sure to draft it in a way that it's clearly identified what are the new edits.
So it sounds like we'll get to talk about it at our workshop next Monday, the 24th?
Yes.
Great, thank you. To be fair, I had a note here that I would probably want to adjourn this until this December 1st, even if we continued it, because it's been a while since we've talked about it as a council, so I appreciate it working out that way.
And this way, the council can have the benefit of those edits, of having more time to look at the planning board's comment letter, as well as the public. They'll be able to see what edits stem from the planning board's comments.
Great.
Okay.
I on this one, just wanted to thank the planning board. I found their memo to be delightful. So I appreciate all the feedback that they provided on this and some of the things that we touched on when we met with them. So that's all. Just wanted to appreciate that.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second to adjourn the public hearing on train station zoning to December 1. All in favor, say aye.
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 Paloma?
Aye.
Thank you. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that passes unanimously. And then I'm going to open the 2026 budget hearing. Is there a summary we want to provide, or we just want to open it? How do we want to do it?
What do you want to do?
I think we've introduced the budget, so let's just open the hearing. And I'll look straight on the list, and I see Arthur Kamens on the list to make a comment on the budget hearing.
Good evening, everyone. I read with dismay and frustration the housing coordination duties description posted on tonight's agenda. It ignores the urgent pleas of Beacon residents and city council members, and instead reflects the view expressed by the mayor on multiple occasions that advocacy for tenants' rights, including advocating for tenants with deadbeat landlords and most important, aggressive action to address affordability are not needed. We heard, we do enough, more than others, just a little resource coordination is needed. And I'm confident in saying, Beaconites say no. Stop ignoring us. Tellingly, dedicated time and responsibilities with respect to those things are not even mentioned in the description. This is a rebuke both to you as council members and to Beaconites who over and over again have taken time to speak and write. Not over days or weeks or months, but years. Our demands have been crystal clear, but we got purposeful ambiguity in the description. I urge the City Council to stand up, not be steamrolled, placated, or dismissed, or told it's not your job, and insist that funds be allocated in the 2026 budget for a dedicated position to meet those specific needs. You have the power to do it. Don't pass a budget without it. All over the country, elected leaders are beginning to respond to the cry for affordability, and I might add, get elected. That gives me and so many others a ray of much-needed hope. I plead with you to join them. For those of you leaving office, do what you know is right before you leave office. For those of you remaining, show both Beacon renters and homeowners you get our needs, are on our side, and are prepared to take action. And, you know, I want to add, it's interesting to me, telling, I think, that the room is almost empty. That tells me, and I think it should
15
tell
seconds.
you, that people have given up, and that is unacceptable, and it's up to you to change that.
Thank you. Anyone else in the physical space want to make a comment on the budget public hearing? Okay, and then Ben, anyone online?
If you're on Zoom and you'd like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand option at the bottom of your screen. If you're dialing in by phone, you can press *9. Lastly, if you're watching on the YouTube live stream, you'll need to navigate to the city website instead and clicking on the Zoom link, which is located on our community calendar. As of now, we have 2 hands raised on Zoom. The first is Julie. Julie, you have permission to speak whenever you're ready.
Hi, my name is Julie Winterbottom. I live in Ward 1. And I would also like to speak to the job description for the Deputy City Administrator's housing responsibilities. I appreciate that the council shared that with the public. I also appreciate the robust discussions that you've been having about housing as a priority. But I want to comment tonight on what I think is missing from this job description. And that is for there to be a clearly stated goal of proactively seeking out ways to create more affordable and subsidized housing in Beacon. I feel like this is crucial to include in the description. I believe this goal could be pursued in multiple fronts, some of which the person in this job would ideally develop themselves as they did research and got some training. But here are a few ideas of what I think they could do. One is to talk to developers when they first propose a project to the planning board and strategize ways to increase the number of affordable units. For instance, they might steer them to the county's GAP funding program, which helps developers who need additional financing to create affordable units. Last week, the county awarded $2.3 million to workforce housing development in Rhinebeck and mixed income development in Red Hook. These are towns with high AMIs similar to Beacon. Another thing they could do is look at city-owned property. I have parking lots in mind that could be developed into high percentage affordable housing, perhaps with help from the county's housing trust fund for low-income rentals. Other ideas, talk to the Beacon Housing Authority about creating new subsidized projects, push for development on state and county projects that's now underway to increase the number of affordable units. I have the train station in mind there. Create mechanisms to ensure that the affordable housing we already have remains affordable in the long term. Work with the city's planner to make sure that our new comprehensive plan maximizes affordable housing, and also solicit county expertise in this. On this note, I hope that you will allocate funding to pay for a zoning consultant who's really versed in housing and affordable housing if that's needed during the comprehensive plan. These ideas are just my suggestions.
15 seconds.
My main request is that this job description explicitly assign responsibility for advancing affordable housing in Beacon through new policies, zoning, funding sources, and a collaborative role in the planning process. Yes, Beacon has met the state minimum.
Your time has elapsed.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Our next Zoom speaker will be Michael Fox. Michael, you have permission to speak whenever you're ready.
Hi, everyone. Michael Fox, I live in Ward 4. I'm commenting along with Arthur and Julie on the housing coordinator duties list for the deputy city administrator. The 7 duties to be added to the administrator's job description as written are all good ones, and they will help current and future residents of Beacon to identify and access housing-related resources in a number of ways. And that's so far so good. What is missing from the list of duties is the task of retaining the existing stock of affordable housing in Beacon and increasing it. The missing duty is the duty of effective advocacy for housing the people of Beacon who live on modest incomes now and in the future. The promotion of affordable housing in Beacon needs an informed voice on the City Council during discussions of land use changes, residential zoning and development, proposal reviews, a voice that is specifically tasked with bringing affordable housing goals and solutions to the fore in every applicable discussion. This has been the primary goal for many of us that spoke on behalf of adding a housing coordinator position to the council. In the absence of funding for that dedicated position, I asked the council to add this most important duty to the deputy administrator's list that tasks and authorizes them with advocacy and oversight for the retention and increase of truly affordable housing in Beacon. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Ben?
There are no further hands raised online.
Okay, so can I get a motion and a second to close the public hearing on the budget?
Motion to close the public hearing on the budget.
Second.
So that was Molly and Pam. All in favor of closing the hearing, say aye. Aye. Paloma?
Aye.
All right, and I didn't hear any opposed, so that's closed. All right, so the next item would be reports. Paloma, would you be willing to start up, and then we'll go to George and around that way?
Certainly.
Thank you.
I wanted to thank everybody who has spoken in this public hearing as well as the last public hearing and on this very important topic of our city budget. Obviously, we'll speak more on this when we get to it in the agenda, but I appreciate all the time and attention our residents have been giving to this topic. And otherwise, I will note that my final open office hours of the year will be Sunday, December 14th from 4 to 6 p.m. This is the day before the final scheduled council meeting of 2025. And I'd be happy to hear from the public on any remaining business of 2025, as well as any thoughts looking ahead into the next term of 2026 and 2027. So I'll be at Trax Coffee House at 2 East Main Street on Sunday, December 14th from 4 to 6. Thank you. And I'll pass to George, I believe.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to thank all of the organizers, volunteers, and sponsors of this past weekend's third annual Beacon Bonfire event, which was an incredible success, and it brought so many people to town. I know all of the Main Street businesses appreciated the additional traffic that came to town because of this, and it was a great effort, and congratulations on their success. And I'd also like to thank the Howland Cultural Center for, or congratulate them on their ribbon cutting this past weekend, although I was unable to attend the ribbon cutting. It's great that we have such stewards of such an important institution in our community, and it looks great, and it took a lot of hard work for a lot of people, so thank you. That's it.
I ditto what you said, George, on the Howland Cultural Center and the dedication of their portico. I wanted to double check with, I was listening to the planning board on, them discussing the train station zone and also the, R15. One of the words that I heard for the first time, which probably is out there, and multi-modal transit, talking about not just trains but it includes, buses, bicycles, and, pedestrians, and for Beacon also the ferry. And I'm wondering, how do we go about looking for grants to be able to have that kind of discussion? Because as I listen to the planning board, even the members there of the struggles they have with the traffic at the train station, and it is just something that Beacon has got to look at, how we can get some kind of study of the multimodal transit sooner than later, especially if we're looking at this project at the train station. Kind of switching gears, I'm sure Chris will give an update on Fishkill Avenue, and I know I said it all year, but it's really patience for everyone who has to live near that area, drive through that area, or drive to avoid that area. The work is getting done for the season, and you can tell it's just getting more intense as they try to fix our the sewage and water, and I realize it's like this is the last construction like that I will ever have to deal with on Fishkill Avenue, because it'll happen beyond my lifetime. So I'm thankful it's happening, but again, everybody has patience. Even when you're in the cars, brake, don't go in the other lane just to get to laundromats. You need to stop when the flagman tells you to stop, or flag person tells you to stop. And one other thing, can it be looked at, the construction sign over near Mill Street? It's pretty much blocking the crosswalk signage, and also the loft sign is kind of blocking it also. I know I was got a little aggravated trying to walk across the street in the crosswalk as multiple cars went past me, speeding by, giving me middle fingers. So it really does need to be looked at. Thank you.
Amber?
All right. Ditto on the Howland Cultural Center. I wanted to appreciate the Cub Scouts Pack 3001 and the mayor for letting me sit in on that, because there's a special scout in that troop who came to visit City Hall and had wonderful questions and were really engaged. It was fun to have them here, so thank you for that. And next week is Thanksgiving, so I hope everybody has a safe and happy Thanksgiving holiday.
Thanks, Amber. I'm going to, forgive me, Molly's our fantastic nerd correcting all of our minutes, so thank you always for that. But it's just, I'll be a word nerd. It's multimodal, not model, just so you can find the right thing. Yeah, multimodal.
Thank you.
Grant opportunities, I'm sure. And I'm just going to second your interest in hearing. I'm sure Chris has been looking at these, and the Transportation Department, New York State Transportation, has specific grants set aside for this typically. And I'm sure they've been explored, so be interested to hear more about that. And I was not able to make it to the Veterans Day ceremonies. I was working, couldn't get away, unfortunately, but I was glad that it was held, and I'm sure it was a good event. So I just want to give a shout out to the veterans.
Thank you. Yes, I also wanted to appreciate the Veterans Day ceremony that was once again such a great community event, really bringing together all kinds of people who have served our country in various capacities in such a great way to honor our veterans so locally here in Beacon. I also want to celebrate the Howland Cultural Center. I happened to go to an event that very night. I wasn't able to make the unveiling, but it was great to be able to see it in person with the lights and the heavy downpour when I went, but I still took a moment to look up and see it, and it's great. And great to talk to some board members there who are already thinking about the next project, as George says, to kind of protect this great iconic resource that we have right here in Beacon. I also want to thank the city for, it's maybe been a while, but I guess I don't get a much chance to drive down Main Street from where I live, but I did this weekend and got a look at the pedestrian lead intervals as a driver, and those are great to see there now. And again, they might have been there for a while, but just wanted to acknowledge that work, and hopefully that makes a difference for both cars and pedestrians to feel they can cross safely, especially on our busy weekends like we particularly have in the fall. I also want to name now, I'm not quite sure of the time, but as mentioned by some of our commenters, that we will have some new people joining us here on City Council, and if you would like to see them all in the flesh, be sworn in, there will be a swearing-in ceremony. The public is welcome to attend. It'll be Sunday, January 4th at Veterans Memorial Building. I believe it's at 3 p.m. I see some nods, so great, I got that time right. So again, we'll probably bring it up more times, but just wanted to name it now because I know the holidays and New Year's can be busy on people's calendars, but everyone who wants to attend is welcome to attend, just to bring in our new city council members. And I will be there as well, but transitioning into my new role. And lastly, I will be having office hours this coming Sunday, November 23rd at Bank Square Coffee House from 4 to 6 p.m. if you want to talk about housing coordinator responsibilities or anything else that's on your mind as we get close to the end of this calendar year, or anything you think might be beyond the city but want to work with me to make sure that we can bring in and work with our great administration and bringing in other resources as well. And I will pass it to you, Lee.
All right. Thank you all, and I appreciate the opportunity to go last because I can make shorter comments about some of the things you've done. Food cards. We still have food cards available. We've got a large number distributed, but if you haven't received one, you can dial the main recreation department number at 845-765-2470. And again, it requires a state ID, a SNAP ticket, which means you are a citizen, and proof of Beacon residency. And we do record and keep track of all of that. So if you haven't, this is still open, and there are some cards left. Second, I also attended Veterans Day. I'm always pleased when we're able to use the city's memorial building to bring people to that building, because just by bringing them there, they're recognizing the vets. So that was a good day. Attended the Beacon Historical Society Gala. That was last week, not the week, or week before during election week. One of the honorees was the McAlpin family, who've done a lot in terms of the Roundhouse and other projects for redevelopment. So pleased to go to that. Also had the opportunity to go to the Howland Center. We brought the city's big scissors to cut a ribbon, and I just want to especially do a shout out to Teresa Kraft for all the work that they and her board has done on this, and it's great. And we're so pleased to have been able to support that and provide some help along the way. And so thank you so much. The Firehouse, it's the 1-year anniversary of the opening of the Firehouse. We just got a silver award from Firehouse Magazine for design for the Firehouse, and it was a combination of the kind of practical firematics design, the repurposing of the building, the sustainability of the all-electric, and the exterior facade. They were all noted in there. You can find that award in detail online as well. Fifth, as Amber mentioned, we had the Cub Scouts here last Thursday night. That was a ton of fun. Sebastian Miles is your nephew. Jack, Ariana, Callahan, Lucas, I'm missing some of the others.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I was playing with them, right, because I was making a point of
Yeah.
spelling their names so I can remember them.
This is why we don't usually let them get around the Scouts.
Yeah, I know.
I tried.
The one thing I did say to them was that, service is what Scouts are about, and serving your community in one capacity or another is, I think, what we're about, and so many in the community are about. On Friday, the day after that, I was at the Participation in Government program at the high school and had 3 classes to work with. 2 of the 3 did really well. The third one was a little quiet. They were probably waiting to get out. But I had the opportunity to ask a lot of questions. They're going to be coming back to council in a few weeks because they've got their presentations. I've heard a little bit about some of them. It should be fun. I also had the opportunity to attend for the first time the countywide mayors and town supervisors meeting, which was up in Pleasant Valley. Up until this time, I haven't really attended because I was working down in the city. I have more time now, and this was a breakfast event, so I could go. I also had the opportunity to meet with our planning department up in Dutchess County, and we have a very strong relationship with them. And then finally, gave blood last week at the rec center. I lost count, but I think it's north of 100 units. And I would just encourage people, you don't have to do 100, but if you can, it's an important thing to do and another part of your community service. And I'll hand it off to the city administrator if you got something.
I would just say it's amazing that you have 100 units of blood to give. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I know.
prodigious.
I started 50 years ago.
So Fishkill Avenue, thank you, Pam. The water lines are done. The sewer is underway. We are still trying to be done with that project by December 15th, and we will move that sign so that it doesn't create a conflict with the pedestrian crosswalk. On the other part of Fishkill Avenue, we're down to and Teller Avenue. We still have a few signs to put in, a couple curbs to fix, a little bit of striping on the raised crosswalks and or on the speed bumps. And again, we hope to be done by the end of November on that. I also was at the school the week before for participation in government, and I want to thank all of the teachers there, including Erin Hadelin, who always organizes this and just welcomes us. It's really one of my favorite things to do, to talk with the senior classes. Bulk leaf pickup is continuing through the end of the first week in December at least, so you can pile your leaves at the curb, and our big vacuum truck will come around and remove them. If you'd like to see the schedule that breaks the city down into quadrants, please visit our website at beaconny.gov. And then finally, on the multimodal, we just actually got a grant for looking at multimodal access to the train station, which is the $3.6 million grant for Beekman Street. And again, that's a $3.8 million project that looks at redoing sidewalks, putting in bike lanes, resurfacing drainage, and signage. So we're needing to put that paperwork in by January, and we'll be bringing agreements to the next council to approve that project.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, the only thing I would add on train station is that project came as a result of a last mile study that I think it was the Metro North that did that
No,
study.
Transportation Council.
Transportation Council in Dutchess?
Yes.
And it, recommended how do we get people that last mile down to the train station. One of the things that's also come out of it, in addition to what Chris mentioned, was there are bike storage units that are coming in at the train station shortly if they're not already in at some places.
Yeah, and we supported that grant.
Yeah.
Metro North applied for monies for that.
And then I'd like to bring to council, I don't have the data yet, but we've been meeting on and off with the State Department of Transportation and about Route 9D, and they have these new, I don't know the proper term, but I call them smart signaling, where all of the signals have cameras associated with each traffic intersection and are talking to each other, and they lengthen the lights heading northbound when the commuters are exiting. They lengthen the light off the off-ramp of the bridge when the off-ramp is full. And I've seen data saying it makes a difference. I observe that it does as well. I've asked them for data that we could explain in English to people about how it's making a difference. It doesn't mean our traffic goes away, but it is being managed more effectively. So just wanted to add those. Okay. Local laws and resolutions. So the first one is amending the fees concerning recreation fees and for subdivisions and site plans. Can I get a motion and a second on that? And Christian will explain it.
Motion.
Second.
So that's Amber and George. And Christian, will you give us a briefing as to what's in here?
Thank you, Mayor. So currently, the council has before it a resolution which would increase the recreation fees. These recreation fees are authorized under state and local law. They're assessed to development when there's either a subdivision, so if someone has an oversized lot and they're not able to provide recreational areas for the community or the new units, they would then pay into a trust fund. That trust fund is held by the city. It can only be expended for recreational purposes such as maintaining parks, adding new services, maintaining services, and the same goes for site plans as well. Those are when you have multifamily or mixed use and there's a residential component. So the recreation fees were last amended in 2017, and so they're currently proposed to be increased in a commensurate level with inflation since then, and also to do away with a graduated scale for site plans so that the more units you have, currently the less the fee is. However, that is proposed to be eliminated because in theory, it doesn't matter if you have 50 units or 10 units, that's the same amount of people that would be habitating and they would need the same amount of recreation. And so for the subdivisions, the proposed increase is from $4,500 to $6,000 per lot. So if someone has a oversized lot and they subdivide it once and they're not able to provide recreation, they would only pay the $6,000. They would not have to pay it twice. And then same thing for site plans. It's by unit. We have included with the council's agenda, I believe it was uploaded earlier today, a red line showing those changes. And in response to council comments at the last meeting, we've proposed that this would only be effective to new applications submitted after last Friday. So that way, any pending or current applications would be subject to the existing. That was in an effort to allow developers or smaller home builders to not have to factor in those additional costs. We've also suggested a provision here which would require the planning board secretary to compile a list, and that list would detail who is and who is not subject to the new recreation fees. That way in 6 months from now, we don't have to ask, is this applicant subject to the new recreation fees or the previous one? And so that list would be provided. It would be coordinated between building, our office, as well as the city administrator's office to just ensure that people are charged the right fees. And so if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
We had that question about whether it applied to ADU site plans. Was that resolved?
It may. We are trying to determine that for, interestingly, the county doesn't require referral of it. So ADUs only require site plan under certain circumstances. With the recent amendments, there's a streamlined process. And so if they required site plan approval, they would most likely be required to pay into this. However, if they do not have that if they're able to get through with the expedited administrative review and they don't require site plan approval, they would not be subject to the fees.
And is it still planning board dependent? They would make the decision ultimately for this? Is it
Yes, they
possible?
would. And so the planning board has to look at it on a case-by-case basis. They look and evaluate whether or not there is a recreational need, whether or not it can be provided. And it's not just made on an ad hoc decision. There is a well-reasoned elaboration for why.
Any other comments, questions?
Yeah, just I was wondering, we're trying to increase these fees due to inflation, and we haven't looked at this in 7 years. Is it possible for something to trigger it so it happens more often, so we can look at these, and it's not a sudden leap from, a 30% increase or so.
Yes, that could be added. It could be part of the comprehensive plan in 2027 as well, or the council, we can add a reminder to bring this up and look at it every so often to make sure that, it's a gradual increases.
So
We're now looking at all fees every year, and this was one of the holdouts that we hadn't done previously. And knowing that we have, like, the TOD project, which is, over 260 units, we knew we had to update this now before that comes online. Thinking about, like, oh, you're going to build this beautiful, new development, and then across the way, that park should be redone as well. So we'll update it more often.
Good.
Yeah.
I think it would benefit everybody.
I'm going to have staff look at fees every year to see where we need to be, that we're in alignment with other communities, that we're, not too much. On some things, we'll dial them back. Some things don't make sense, like we just are eliminating the fee for scrap metal when you bring it to the transfer station, because we get paid for that. So it actually made no sense to have somebody write us a check for 40 cents when we're getting paid for that metal.
Great, thanks.
Thanks.
The question I was going to ask is, would it be possible to give the authority to the administrator or someone to update these to reflect inflation?
So the way that the enabling statute under state law, as well as the city code is drafted, it requires council action. It's not something that can be delegated.
Got it. Okay, just thought I'd ask. Not surprising. Not surprised by the answer. Okay, any other comments on this?
This is removing where it had the increments of the different units price-wise, so this is just 2,000
Per.
per dwelling
2,000 per
unit.
unit, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, all in favor of approving the amendments to the schedule of fees for recreation fees for subdivisions and site plans, say aye.
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 Thank you, Paloma. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that passes. The second one is I'm looking for a motion and a second to adopt Local Law 12, which concerns R1 zoning changes. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion?
And
Second.
the motion and a second is to both adopt the seeker finding and the local law.
Motion to adopt the seeker finding and the local law.
Yeah, and those are both in the resolution, so I guess our other language could be adopting the resolution. But I think we want to spell out the seeker finding as well. So the motion and the second is there. Christian, will you take us through it and tell us why we're doing a seeker resolution?
Yes, so this is a zoning law. Zoning is subject to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. However, here, there's no specific project that this is targeting, so we had to look at holistically, does this local law in of itself most likely cause a substantial adverse environmental impact? We believe the answer is no. This does not in of itself provide for development. Any new projects or development that would stem from this would be subject to site-specific, project-specific environmental review. Most likely, it would be at the planning board level.
Okay. And do you want to summarize the changes that are involved?
Yeah. Thank you. So this local law, I'll just start from the beginning. This local law would allow within a limited geographic area on the outside of the central Main Street, north of Rombout, south of Verplank, east of South Avenue, and west of Fishkill-Teller Avenue, to have 2-family, 1-family attached and semi-attached artist live workspaces. That is in character with this neighborhood, kind of as a transitional area in the R15, where there are a lot of 2-family, there are a few kind of quasi-townhouses, and so this local law would allow those as of right in this limited area, not anywhere else in the R15. And in order to allow this, we also made some minor changes to the bulk regulations to allow up to 2 units on a parcel, as well as to decrease the number, the square footage required per lot. However, again, that is only applicable to this limited area of the R15. And then the second aspect of the local law would allow the replacement in kind of multifamily structures or 2-family that are destroyed by more than 50%. So currently, the code provides that if you have any type of non-conforming use anywhere in the city and it is destroyed by 50% or more, it cannot be rebuilt. You have to convert it to a conforming use. The intent here is to allow, to keep housing stock if a property owner wants to rebuild a multifamily. I believe there's a little over 30 multifamily in the R15 district. So if any of those are destroyed, either the developer or the property owner could rebuild in kind. We have made an edit per the planning board's recommendation that if they do decide to rebuild multifamily in kind, they're required to have the same number of units and bedrooms that existed prior, so that way they can't have, you know, a 5-unit and then build 3 massive unit on the same footprint. And so if there's any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Yeah, and again, I'll provide historical context. In the 70s, their master plan assumed 5 phases of urban renewal. The only phase that actually occurred was here on the West End. But the other 4 phases were centered around Main Street on either side. They did zoning and created an RD3 zone on either side of Main Street to kind of in planning for that. And when it didn't occur, the single-family areas around Main Street with the RD3 zoning, which was allowing for conversions of single-family homes to multifamily and also for allowing for apartments and 2 families, started seeing those. A lot of the conversions were more than just into 2 families, but even more than that. When I got on council, there was a view that this was actually harming those neighborhoods, and so the RD3 zone was shifted to an R15 zone, and that's a single-family zone. While that protected the single-family homes, what it didn't address is, well, but there are a bunch of places where there are 2s or there are small apartments or other things, and those we discovered recently that if something, you know, as you said, more than half of the property burns down or whatever, it has to go back to the underlying zoning. So this approach is not addressing the whole area, it's addressing the area closer into Main Street and legalizing uses other than the single-family uses in hopes of actually wanting to kind of preserve additional home options in those areas. Okay, I just wanted to offer that historical perspective. Okay, questions, comments?
More of a comment that listening to what the planning board had to say about this, that, you know, brought up, as Christian said, the question around did we want to preserve unit for unit kind, and, you know, and they had questions about what was the best way to do that, but I appreciate we as the council, when we talked about it, we decided that was of the routes available to us, that was most in keeping with our intention with this change. They also brought up some concerns around parking, and I know when you met with them, kind of with the city council members who were able to make it, met with them, that was sort of a general concern they brought up, and I will say, kind of for the future of this, and maybe this comes up in the comprehensive plan, as I do think this is a moment to think about what convenience of parking for those who live in our central area do we want to provide, and maybe being more explicit about that, and then looking at what are the tools the city has available in order to make that happen, and kind of and then conversation with the community. I know the idea of parking meters on Main Street is a good way to get yourself kicked off of city council if you bring it up. But I think just explaining, well, the reason why you might have that or local parking permits is so you can actually somewhat influence how people park and when they park and where they park. That's why lots of communities do have them. And so I think this might be the moment to have that conversation, as it might be that there might be moments, depending on when you're driving, if you live centrally, that you might not be able to park as close to your place where you live as you might have otherwise. So it might be worth in the future kind of actually having that explicit conversation.
Okay. Yeah, I would just add too that this doesn't address all the situations where there's a 2-family or small apartments. I can give you examples near Molly, where you live, right on Verplank, around the corner. There's, I think, 4 or 5 apartments.
Correct. Yeah.
Similarly, on Wolcott, near to us, there's a couple of 2 families. And again, this doesn't pick up all of them. It picks up, as Christian said, sort of north of Rombout and south of Church. How far does it? What's the
south of
Oaks?
That's south of Verplank.
South of Verplank.
It goes up to Verplank, but not
Oh, so
along
then it-
Verplank.
Yeah.
Then it picks up the apartments that are on Verplank.
We initially were not looking at Verplank,
Yeah.
but it does say south of Verplank.
It says south of
Yeah,
Verplank. Okay,
South of Verplank.
got it. All right. So again, it doesn't get them all, but I think it covers a lot, and it's addressing, I think, where we're heading in the sense of wanting to preserve homes, residences.
Yeah, there are also a number of two families on the north side of Verplank, but again, we're not trying to address all of the things right now.
So thank you. All right. All right, so all in favor of adopting the seeker, do we need a separate seeker finding, or we can do it together?
No, you don't.
You're adopting the resolution. It includes both the SECRA and the adoption of the local law.
All right, so all in favor of adopting Resolution 108 concerning the R15 zoning district, say aye.
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 Thank you, Paloma. And that's great. All right, so next item is the budget. So can I get a motion and a second to adopt the budget, and we'll open the conversation.
Motion.
Second.
So that was Pam and Amber. All right, so I think what we can do is have any discussion we want about the main budget. If there are amendments to it, we can take them up one at a time, and let's have at it. And I think we can get to a budget conclusion fairly soon, but I'll leave it to you all.
I'd like to make a motion to increase firefighter salaries by $62,319 in order to hire a new full-time firefighter halfway through the year.
Second.
All right, and then if we have a more
Point of
exact
order.
number,
Yeah, point of order, we costed it out, and it's actually it's about 52,000, and,
I think that's what Paloma said.
yeah.
That's definitely
That's what I
said.
heard. I know sometimes the long distance from Wisconsin.
so for the record, both the motion and the second amended their motion to say 52,000 instead of 63.
And we put up the actual budget items for you to see,
Thanks.
because we know this was something you were interested in last
Okay.
week. So this breaks down all of the fringe and salary.
Okay.
And thank
And
you.
that's definitely what I said. And I believe I should also say, propose that, that balance be taken from fund balance.
Perfect.
Okay,
Again, second.
so let's just do that one. All in favor of adding $52,000 to the firefighter salary and other lines, it sounds like, and adding the same amount to fund balance usage in this budget, say aye.
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 Okay, that's one down. Okay, any other discussions?
The $75,000 that we have under the city council budget,
Yes.
do we have that earmarked for anything? It's for planning, but,
We might, one suggestion I heard was to change it to initiatives, just the titling, although frankly, I think you could do as you wish with it. I don't think anything's allocated at this moment.
well, I would suggest that we consider the bicycle comprehensive plan.
Okay.
I would like to see some commitment toward that.
Yeah, Christian, how would we formally do that, or what is the correct mechanism to use to make that intention?
So similar with the firefighter, there'd be a motion to appropriate the 75,000 for the council initiatives to change that to fund a bicycle comprehensive study.
So, but I don't think it affects the budget because the category exists. It's not a motion to amend the budget, is it?
It would come from the same line. So then it could just be a motion to amend the title of it.
Oh, to the initiative, or,
That would give the council the authority to allocate it to specific tasks. If it's your will to do it, even if it's not in the budget, and we'll certainly hear your will and see what we can do. You can certainly allocate it. Whether we can get to it, again, we're not committing to that. But that's certainly what you can want with that line item. Right, we're all in agreement. We want to do it. It's just a matter of timing.
Right, but when does the commitment happen?
So it wouldn't be if there's an existing line item, it's called council initiatives, and we're considering the budget now. I think we would approve the budget,
Yeah.
And then we could bring a workshop item and then bring it back to the council to allocate that fund?
Yeah, so right now, it would just be changing it for that specific purpose, and then at a later date, the council would then pick up and decide on actually spending that money, because you'd have to hire a professional consultant and move forward with that. So it would be, exactly as the mayor said, it would be a topic of a future workshop discussion. It's up to the council to bring it forward for that discussion. This right now would just be essentially amending the line item title.
So we would define it as a commitment to the bicycle
Yes.
comprehensive study. Okay.
All right. So it sounds like what you're saying, Christian, is we would entertain a motion to amend the council budget line item that it says planning.
Initiatives?
Planning initiatives would become just initiatives.
Mhm.
Is that correct? So I get a motion and a second to do that? on the
Motion
budget?
to change the planning to initiatives in our 2026
All right.
budget.
Second.
So that's Molly and Pam.
But it still seems, it still seems vague. It could be any initiative at that point,
Yes.
not
Correct.
necessarily committed to a bicycle study.
Well, I think we also talked about, could some of this funding be used for supporting potential housing initiatives?
Right.
So I think it sounds like we can change it here, but then the council needs to request, as we are requesting now, that this come back for discussion about maybe seeing, is there, when is there room actually in the 2026 calendar, and towards what items? And how much of that do we want towards a bike study, and at what point? It might be that all 75K goes towards the bike study, but I feel like maybe now we don't need to get into the detail of how much of that is bike versus are there other things we might want that to go towards, is my suggestion.
I would agree.
What happens with I mean, this is not talking about the 2026 budget, proposed budget, but what happens there's 25,000 left of 2025 budget?
It goes
Yeah,
It goes into the fund balance,
It goes into the fund balance?
as do all unexpended line items, unless you move it somewhere else.
I'm on that line, I'm interested in making a motion to increase the 2026 budget line item for city council initiatives to 100,000, understanding that that additional 25K is corresponding to, if not exactly, moving the remaining funds that we did not spend in 2025. I realize I'm out of order because we did not complete the motion on changing the name to city council initiatives.
All right, so why don't we do the name change first, since that's on the table, and then we'll keep going. And if there's another one, we'll do another one.
And who made the motion in the,
So that
I
was,
think Pam made it and I seconded
I
it.
thought it was the
Thank
other
you.
way
I think it was
around.
the
Oh, it was the other way around?
Molly
I
and
made the
Pam.
Molly
okay.
and Pam?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so let's do that. So the line item under council for planning is now, the proposal is to change it to initiatives. All in favor of doing so, say aye.
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 All right. And is there any other motions or amendments?
Paloma, do you want to say yours again?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to increase the 2026 budget line item for city council initiatives to 100,000.
Second.
All right, so any comments on that? My only one would be, you can always add to the budget during the year as well. So my only advice would be, if you don't have something in mind for the full amount, you might just hold off. It doesn't preclude you from doing it during the year. If you did it during the year, you would be making a motion to increase a line item, and you can do that.
Paloma, are you looking to do that from fund balance as well?
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
And to at least somewhat address the mayor's point that, this money should be for a specific purpose. This is my expectation that roughly 50,000 would go towards a bicycle master plan, and that the remaining funds would go to funding additional consultation, expertise, and training to the presumptive deputy city administrator, as well as council, particularly as it comes to addressing urgent housing needs in the city. And of course, I understand that that's the intention, and we will spend it as we are able. And if we don't spend it, it will go back into fund balance.
Okay, other comments? Okay, let's have a vote. So all in favor of increasing the initiatives line in the council's budget to 100,000 from 75,000, say aye.
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 All right. Yeah, I'm okay with that, so I'll vote yes. All
So
right.
that's 7-0, Mayor?
Yeah, yep.
Thank you.
Any other amendments?
Not necessarily an amendment, but I was just curious, the money from the sale of the proceeds from the sale of the Mace Hook and Ladder, do those funds go directly toward paying down the bond for the firehouse that's recently built?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, so we paid that in advance out of fund balance, and we're restoring the fund balance so that we keep an amount that keeps our bond rating. So all of that money is money that now we don't have to go out and borrow.
Right. And the same will be applied if we sell the
Yes.
Beacon Engine?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, everyone good?
Yeah.
Anyone want to call the question on the full budget?
Make a motion to approve the budget?
So there's a motion on the table, so all we're doing is calling the question, but I heard that as a calling the question. Any further discussion? So the question's called. All in favor of approving the 2026?
Mayor, this is a voice, a roll call vote.
There was
Okay.
also no second.
I'll second it.
You don't need a
You're
second.
second for a roll
The
call.
mayor, the mayor is out of order.
So we put it on the table. I'm corrected. And so what we're saying now is we're voting on the budget as amended.
As amended.
And we need a roll call vote. So I'll start with Paloma,
Aye.
and then go to George,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Mayor vote yes, Amber,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Molly.
Aye.
All right. Very good, thank you. I look to Molly next.
So few of these left. A motion to approve the minutes.
Of November 3rd?
Yeah, of November 3rd.
And,
Second.
Second by Amber. Any discussion, corrections, additions, deletions?
They looked fine to me.
All right. All in favor of approving the minutes of November 3rd, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And Paloma, I just want to check.
Aye.
Thank you, I didn't hear it, sorry. All right, so this is the second opportunity for public comment. If you haven't made a comment at the first one, like to do so now, you're certainly welcome to. All right? Sure.
It's been a very long day. I'd like to keep my hats separate, so I am speaking as a concerned resident. I know I missed tonight's first public hearing, but I still want my public comment on record. I and many other like-minded residents are not in favor of building a new train T-district around the train station. There will be major concerns for potential residents like intense noise, vibration, let alone the potential to inhaling pollutants, not including the complex engineering disruption to the existing scenic beauty of our historic riverfront. Even though transit-oriented development, TOD, is popular in some circles, there are major concerns. Community disruption is the major, and making transit hubs even more congested and unappealing. We will forever lose the majestic beauty of the Beacon from the riverside. Today, many say they can't see the current mass overdevelopment while traveling over the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, heading home, but I believe this will be the nail in our coffin. Please don't.
Thank you.
Yvonne Carruthers, Beacon Bicycle Coalition, Ward 4. Thank you, George, for bringing up the subject again. And who was the second on that? Paloma. It's hard to believe that it's been 20 years that we've talked about biking in Beacon, and it's really time that we get the master plan done. So I'm happy to hear that the council has now got $100,000 to work with, because half of that would be enough to get a matching grant that we could get the master plan completed in time for the 2027 comprehensive plan. So, thank you.
All right, anybody else? Ben, you got anyone online?
No one online?
Okay. So our next meeting will be next Monday. It will be on the 24th. It's a workshop at 7 o'clock. It will be here. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Pam?
Second.
George? All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Paloma? Very good. Thank you all. Good night.
All right.
Recording.
That's a budget cut.